Hey y'all, I'm Rylan. Welcome to my channel. I'm here today with my very first book unhaul for 2025. I think my goal for this year is to do an unhaul every quarter of the year. So we're here today with our very first one. I have been accumulating these books in my unhaul stack since the end of 2024, but I wanted to run through all of these before they end up at my local used bookstore or sold on Mercari or Pango. Most of these books are listed on those two apps already. If you're interested in checking them out, feel free to search for them. You'll probably find me. I'll also have the links to my shops listed down below. Probably 60 to 70% of these books have been read by me, and I either like them but don't feel the need to keep them, or I didn't love them and would like to pass them along to somebody else, or they're books that have just been sitting on my shelves for quite a while and I don't quite feel interested in reading anymore, or aren't my normal style of books anymore, and I would love to find them a loving home. So I have 28 books here to talk about really quickly. I'm not going to go into detail about these books. I might make a comment or two about some of them, but we're mostly just going to go ahead and run through them. I've got a stack of romance, a stack of thrillers, and then a stack of a variety of genres. So we'll go ahead and start off with the romance. I might mention if I've read the book or not, and if I liked it, or maybe why I'm unhauling it, but I'm not going to go into specific detail about these books. But before we get started, if you love all things bookish, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. I love creating videos and being in this space, and I'm very excited to see what this year brings. But without further ado, let's talk about the romance books that I'm getting ready to unhaul. First up is 9 Days by Jolena Folk. I read this for our Mending Hearts book club a couple years ago and didn't love it. I do still have all the tabs in it though, so if it ends up going to that bookstore, I'll have to take those out, but unfortunately not for me. I also have My Darling Bride by Elsa Madden Mills. I've read this one, I liked it, did not love it, and do not feel the need to keep it. I did semi-recently upload a reading vlog where I read this one if you're interested in watching it. This is very much an unpopular opinion, I feel like, but The Christmas Tree Farm by Laura Gilmore. I read it for Bookmas in 2024 and did not like this one. King of Wrath by Anna Huang. I actually really did like this one, but the spine does not match the rest of the series, and I don't feel like I'm ever going to get to the rest of the series, so I don't really feel like I need the first book in this series on my shelf anymore. And I think they're all on Kindle Unlimited, so if I get the urge to keep reading them, then I can read them on my Kindle. Happenstance by Tessa Bailey. Also read this one and it was fine. Sips and Strokes by Sarah Skye. Didn't read this one. The Scandalous Ladies of London. This one is The Duchess. Haven't read this one. My Favorite Half Night Stand by Christina Lauren. It's been sitting on my shelves for a very long time and I still have not read it yet. Pucks and Books by Tony Leo. I have another edition of this book. Playing to Win by Stacey Lynn. Just don't need it on my shelves anymore. On the Rebound by L.A. Cotton. Another KU book that I can shoot on my Kindle if I very much feel the need to do so. Just Don't Fall by Emma St. Clair. I did read this one and I liked it. I just didn't love it. Twisted Secrets by Katie Robert. I have had this one also on my shelf for probably 2 years now and still have not read it, and I feel like if I want to read a Katie Robert book, then I can get it from my library as they are very popular. Disgrace by Brittany Cherry. Read this for the book club. I liked it. I just don't have space to keep all of our book club picks anymore, especially if it's been a couple of years. So this one is getting unhauled. And then finally, Monica Murphy's 2 novels in one from the Billionaire Bachelors Club called Crave and Torn. Have not read this one. I love Monica Murphy, but don't feel the need to keep this one. So those are the romance books that we are unhauling today. Next up are the thrillers. I have read all the thrillers in this stack and I liked all of them, but didn't love any of them. So that's why they are all being unhauled. First up is If I Die by Allison Galen. The reappearance of Rachel Price. Unpopular opinion, I think, with this one also, but I did not love this one. These are also mostly book of the month books as well. The Last Word by Taylor Adams. First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston. Like Mother Like Daughter by Kimberly McCrate. House of Glass by Sarah Buchanan. And then finally The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I actually have another copy of this book that I will keep. Those are the thrillers that are being unhauled. Very popular books, I feel like, but I liked them and just did not feel the need to keep them. I love a good book clear out, and my personal philosophy for my own reading is if I give a book 3 stars or less, I need to unhaul it. And if I give a book higher than that but don't feel like I'll ever touch it again, I'll still add it to this pile. So some of these books I've given upwards of 3.5 or 4 stars, but most of them have been 3 stars or less, or I just don't really feel the need to keep them after they've been sitting on my shelves for a very long time. But my final stack is pretty small. It's a very random collection of genres, so I'm just gonna go ahead and name the books off. I don't know what genre all of these books fall into, like The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. I feel like I probably mentioned this in my last book unhaul that I did last October or November. Some of these books still have not been sold, and I have not yet made a trip to Half Price Books to unhaul them, so this one is still on the list to go. And my mom gave it to me, so I feel kind of bad, but I will probably never get to this one. I've also got Clock Striker Volume 2. I have the second volume, but none of the other volumes, and I liked this fine enough, but I'm not going to buy the other volumes in this series, so this one is going to go. Boy Parts by Eliza Clark. I read this one and did not love it, as well as The Salt Grows Heavy by Cassandra Khaw. I thought that the plot was fascinating, but didn't quite understand some of the words that were being used. Dirty Diana by Jen Besser and Shauna Fest. Just have not gotten to this one. And then finally, And the Lives of Puppets by T.J. Klune. Those are the 28 books that I am unhauling in the first quarter of 2025. I'm really bad about DNFing, but I love a good unhaul, so I love going through my shelves every couple months and clearing things out a little bit and trying to find books that I don't look at or I don't have interest in reading anymore, and trying to pass them along to other homes, to other readers who might enjoy them more than I did or might when I do potentially ever end up getting to the books that have just been sitting on my shelves for years. So I do try to do this very frequently and pass along these books to other people. So these are currently listed on my Mercari and Pango. However, if they're not, by the very end of the month, I will be going ahead and dropping them off at my local Half Price Books that is just down the road. That is the only place that I know of in my area that takes used books. I will be dropping those off there. So if you live in the greater Nashville area, you might be able to find some of these books in Half Price once I drop them off. I could also go to McKay's, but I don't think the drop-off price is worth driving all the way out there to give these to McKay's. So they will be at a local Half Price bookstore. Feel free to go shop and check them out, or buy them from my Mercari or Pango if you are interested. But this is my quarter one book unhaul. I love a good unhaul. I love a good book haul, but I also love a good book unhaul. So those are the 28 books that I have for the first quarter of the year. My goal is to do one of these every quarter of this year, so keep an eye out for my next one in the next couple of months. If you have read any of these books, feel free to comment down below and let me know your thoughts on them, or if you have unhauled any books recently, feel free to share that as well. Again, I'm a sucker for a good book unhaul. So that's all that I have for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.